For the first time in a long while, Nigerians gathered around their TV sets, united as one nation. No ethnic division, no religious differences, just one Nigeria. The unifying force, football. And it was during the recently concluded Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. It had been an exciting tournament thus far. However, the semi-finals proved to be a grueling match, and as South Africa and Nigeria clashed in a penalty shootout, the nation held its breath. The tension was palpable. Nigeria eventually won 4-2 and progressed to the final stage. Sadly, 5 people lost their lives that night, all of varying ages, the youngest being a core member. As the days leading to the AFCON finals drew near, medical professionals took the opportunity to shed light on reasons why people die suddenly while watching football. It turns out, many Nigerians are living with severe hypertension and other cardiovascular diseases, and they're not aware because most cardiovascular diseases are usually not symptomatic until their last stages.
Just want to give you some tips while watching this African Cup of Nations, especially for those with cardiac problem or hypertension. Because of the tension and the excitement that comes with this football game, body tends to increase the heart rate and the blood pressure may increase because of the excitement. So people with cardiac problem and hypertension, some of the advice we give or some of the signs you notice first is that some will have a complaint of there's tightness in their chest or chest pain. Then some will also complain of they're having sharp pain in their head, blurry vision, dizziness, feeling lightheadedness. This could be due to probably maybe from the shouting and the excitement. Maybe you have ruptured an artery down there in your brain. So what we advise in this time is if you calm down, fine, you can shoot your excitement, but don't shout with all your power, don't shout at the top of your voice. Don't get too excited about what's going on because of your condition. Now, if you feel all this that I just mentioned, I would advise you call the emergency number or find your way to the hospital. And above all, you should make sure you take your drugs as prescribed. So take it easy, follow your team easily, and everything will be fine.
Cardiovascular disease is a prevalent health issue that plagues the circulatory system. It affects both men and women. The World Health Organization reports that it claims an estimated 17.9 million lives each year, making it the leading cause of death globally.
Sudden cardiac death. And what does that mean? What that means is that when you have a rapidly occurring process that leads to death, usually within an hour, as a result of a heart condition, a cardiac condition. That's what we call sudden cardiac death. And so, for that to happen, it could be either of two ways. It could happen in someone who had a background heart problem, and it could happen in someone who never had a background heart problem. So when someone has a background heart problem, it could be because the muscle of the heart is weak, what we call structural heart disease, or is enlarged or is excessively thickened, or there might even not be any abnormality of affecting the structure. It could be due to electrical abnormality of the heart. And so the excitement that comes with such situations, not just watching football, but anything that gives excessive joy and excitement will usually lead to excessive production of adrenaline in the blood. And that adrenaline can now affect the heart, and in some instances, if it's so much, it can drive the heart and the heart will start quivering, will start beating irregularly, and the person can just fall on the ground and the person is gone.
Dr. Oladipupo Fason, the head of cardiology at the National Hospital Abuja, spoke with Rootstv about the potential risks faced by individuals with cardiovascular disease during intense moments of excitement and adrenaline release.
For instance, someone who already has a background heart problem, for instance, someone who has an enlarged heart or has heart failure, or even has some blockage significant blockage in the artery supplying the heart, they could have some symptoms prior to that period. For instance, if someone has heart failure or enlarged heart, they will have been having features like shortness of breath when they do activities, maybe when they jog or they climb stairs or they do any exertion. They feel that they are a bit short of breath. For those who have problems with the blockage of the artery that supplies the heart muscle, they will find that when they do activities, they have chest pain. And when they relax, the pain subsides. It's already warning. Some might not have anything at all. And I've given you that group of people where there is no structural heart disease. There is no abnormality with the muscle. There is no blockage of the artery. There is no enlargement of the heart. But sudden burst in the release of adrenaline can irritate the heart and then just make the heart beat irregularly. And before you know it, they're on the ground.
George O. Onokwai, a survivor of coronary artery bypass graft surgery, shared his personal journey of living with cardiovascular disease. He expressed gratitude towards his doctor for reviewing his post-surgery medications and providing guidance on a heart-healthy diet. George also reflected on his history of smoking, acknowledging that while some doctors dispute its direct role in his illness, he quit smoking in 2016.
I never knew I had any issues at all. Okay? I was doing very fine. As far as I was concerned, I was doing what every other person could do, what every other person does. And there was this morning I had a crisis, so to say. I had difficulties, breathing. I saw I was sweating, and that was the beginning of my sojourn, of my journey to the hospital. My niece then she's in Canada now. She's a family doctor. So they all stood by. So I was rushed to the National Hospital, so to say. And I insisted I was going to work. They said, you can't work. My friend, sit on that chair. Well, maybe because I have this stubborn nature. But I obeyed. And that was the beginning of my journey. We have a long way to go in this country. There are no drugs, and these drugs are getting too expensive. There is this drug we normally buy for, and like again, I say again, Dr. Fason has been fantastic because he's even tried to arrange, He has even tried to arrange for the suppliers to give me drugs at control prices. Okay? On Friday or so, I surprised because I've been busy, with burials. I ran out of a drug, Peril. The last time I bought it was 25,000 for a pack. The thing has gone up to 32,000. But if you go to H-Medics, the last time it was 25, it was about 45,000.
Dr. Fason highlighted how hypertension is the most common risk factor for cardiovascular disease. He revealed that 3 to 4 out of every 10 Nigerians suffer from hypertension, with many failing to adhere to their medication regimen. Irregular and inconsistent medication usage contributes to poor blood pressure control, exacerbating risks associated with cardiovascular disease.
Even if the person doesn't die straight from an increase in the blood pressure, but the hypertension has gradually over the years damaged the heart, okay, that can also be the reason why the person suddenly dies, because now the heart has failed. So, if you look at it from different ways, hypertension, heart failure, coronary artery disease, and irregular heartbeats like what we call ventricular tachycardia or ventricular fibrillation, these are common causes. If you talk about risk factors, hypertension is also a risk factor.
What?
Hypertension is a risk factor. Diabetes is a risk factor. Excessive alcohol consumption is a risk factor. Cigarette smoking, risk factor. Obesity, risk factor. Sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercises, risk factors. Excessive salt consumption, risk factor. There are many risk factors which we must deal with. But the most important thing is that we should all have a good health-seeking behavior.
The AFCON tournament brought moments of joy, unity, and pride for Nigerians, but it also unveiled a pressing health crisis. As the nation basks in the glory of the team's achievements, it must also confront the realities of cardiovascular disease and work towards better healthcare awareness, adherence to medication, and healthier lifestyle choices.